Today on Marketing Chairside, get the tips you need to level up your video testimonials right now.
Welcome to the Marketing Chairside podcast by Pro Impressions Marketing, where the team covers a variety of dental marketing ideas to help you attract more new patients in the quantity and quality you need to grow your practice.
And to help me get you that information on how you can get more out of testimonials, I've got Aaron Gravit of Product 13. Aaron, thanks for coming on the show today.
Not a problem. I feel like I'm here anyway.
Yeah. Aaron is our producer extraordinaire, who helps us make Marketing Chairside what it is, look and sound amazing. And that is our goal for you today, dear doctor, dental consultant, office manager, whoever you are. If you help a dentist, get video on a website, we're here to help you because video is so powerful and testimonials are so powerful. We want to merge these into video tidbits for social media, different pages of your website, but it all starts with getting a patient in front of a camera and having that be effective. Aaron, what does that lend to an office's credibility when they get patients on camera?
I think the biggest thing is authenticity. There's enough fake everything everywhere, and you can either overproduce or underproduce your content. So I think as long as you've got some kind of authenticity from your patients, your testimonials, and they don't always have to be testimonials, just be real with who you are and who they are and what their journey was. Focus on the process, the journey. Definitely get that reaction video afterwards. That when you give them the mirror for the first time, don't just give it to them. Get the camera out. Your cell phone is all you need right now. You want to get that immediate, something you can post really quick, because that stuff doesn't need all the extra branding and everything on it. It's just something live in the moment that I think every practice should be doing anyway. You want to capture that emotion because that's what's going to sell or attract people to you, because you did something to move that person, to change their life, because you don't know what their story is just yet. You can ask that afterwards. Just get that response when they that reaction when they look at themselves in the mirror for the first time. Right there, that's priceless right there.
It is priceless. Talk about improving your conversion rate on all your marketing. If you get a patient on camera telling how telling the prospective patient basically in a dialogue that they don't even know is happening, this is how it changed my life, and it can do the same for you. It's worth pulling out all the stops to make that happen. I want to first start at kind of the low-lying fruit of what any office can do to try to facilitate that. And then we're going to work our way up in complexity, investment level. But I want to start off with just eliminating some technical difficulties, some of those kind of buts. I don't have a camera that's good enough for this, or but I don't have a place where I can interview them. And so, Aaron, how can doctors step up without making any additional investment? If this is all they've got, how can they record better testimonial videos?
With zero investment, the phones are pretty powerful right now. This is where I insert really loud slurping noises. I saw the big gulp. What were you drinking?
Grape Kool-Aid, believe it or not.
Okay, all right. Keep it up. That's awesome. I haven't had grape Kool-Aid and haven't had Kool-Aid since I was a kid.
It's sugar-free. It's a water enhancer.
What was the question again?
From a technical standpoint, what can doctors do without making a lot of investment?
Just use your cell phone. The cell phone by itself is so powerful. And you've got two different cameras in your office. First off, every single employee, every person has one of these now. There's no excuse not to use it. And the learning curve on social media or teaching people how to post, maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, you might have some issues or pushback, but now everybody's got TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. They've got some kind of social media. So let your staff shoot and have fun with these. It
Yeah.
doesn't cost anything. I mean, it has a built-in mic. Now we can talk about adding better mics and improving quality and all the other stuff later, but I'm just saying straight out of the box, just start using it. And there's key moments in the process that the patient is going to be, not the patient, the staff member is with the patient, that they can do it when they first walk in, they can do it during the process. Just get a few seconds here, a few seconds there, and then maybe document the whole journey. And you can post each of those along the way the same day. I mean, how hard is it to just do this, say something, and then, oh wait, I'm connected. Now now that employee is the patient coordinator or the dental assistant in the moment, post to their social media. Then they tag the practice, you know? So, I mean, you can have that interaction. This thing, then maybe you have that patient tagging and sharing that same little video with their friends and family. And it just gets everybody more engaged. So there's really no excuse. The cell phone is very, very powerful. But I think that the biggest thing is making sure you get it at the very end. People want to see that after and that response to what has been changed. Now, once you gather those videos, you had multiple times to post along the way. Well, then you take all the videos that you accumulated, and maybe, just maybe, you can have a before and after added. Had someone like me have an editor, or if someone is pretty good with editing, whether it's on their phone or however they want, show the before picture and after picture side by side. I'm sure you have plenty of pictures. Use them. And at least the before picture, and then show her crying or smiling. You can either pull it up on the bottom of the video if you wanted to, or put the before and the bottom and the after, and then have the video play if it's a vertical. Um, you put that in the middle. I mean, there's so many options you can do, and you don't have to be that technical to do any of this.
Yeah. And I mean, that is one thing that I would like to just highlight, the saying, perfect is the enemy of good. If that's what's been holding you back, you're like, well, shoot, I just heard Aaron say if I have a video editor, so I got to go find a video editor before I start hitting record. No, 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 no. And yes, I agree. The kind of before, during, and after is amazing to have. But if you've got a patient in the chair and it's delivery day, I don't care if you don't have the before video, hit
Don't let
record on that delivery and get the experience. Or even if deliveries happened, this is just, a follow-up appointment to make sure that everything's, occlusally correct or whatever it is. That's a perfect time to hit record and ask some questions about how it's changed their lives. Talk to me, Aaron, about sound, because that's the only thing that I've seen in doctors that are even doing a good job of hitting record. Sometimes the audio, it makes it seem even just a little, I don't know. It's just not as great as it could be.
well
How can doctors improve that?
hold that thought. Just I'm going to go back to the video really quick. When you're shooting, a lot of times the doctor or the dental hygienist, they're kind of overwhelmed. They're so busy being what they're there for, right? They have to switch gears. So not only you're treating the patient, but then you're trying to build that relationship. Oh, I gotta whip up my camera. Don't worry about making it perfect. One way to have a wonderful moment is, so on that follow-up, let's say on that follow-up video. So let's say they got their work done. Maybe you don't get a response right away because they have to heal. And that next appointment, go out of your way, print. This doesn't really cost anything but a few dollars maybe for printing. So you print the before picture right next to the after picture, because you're going to take pictures of everything, right? So print it out side by side, maybe put it into a folder or something laminated. Maybe they can put it in a picture frame, something where you can hand them. Have somebody filming somebody giving that to the patient and get that, oh my God, wow, I didn't realize I was that. This. I mean, they know there was a change, but now being able to see the difference, you just created content. Doesn't have to be polished. And even if you don't do anything with it right away, just capture it and let it sit somewhere on a server so you can give it to somebody later to add music or create something else with it.
Right. Yep.
So even if you're unsure, don't worry about you're overthinking it. Just gather and gather the content, because you can't create content if you don't have anything to draw from. So you want to create resources, an archive of stuff that you gather each day. And everybody at the office technically can be doing it. And you can have a Dropbox account that you link to, and anything they shoot, you could just throw up there. Just keep it labeled and organized. And one day you'll be able to pull from it and create some cool stuff.
Absolutely. Because after the fact, it's really hard to remember to do that.
You can't get a before picture after the work is done, or a before video, or oh wait, they're done with the procedure. They're not going to be back for a cleaning for 6 more months, or they may not come in. They might be like, ah, I'm good. See ya.
Yep. And you
Um,
really just, it's not really a technical difficulty as much as a logistical difficulty, but I'm telling you, that is the first hurdle you focus on, is just making it happen, recording. I would encourage you to think of this as an extension of, why you're in practice doing the type of dentistry that you're doing in the first place. And like mentally, I would merge this process with requesting reviews. Hopefully, that requesting reviews is important. If you're not getting reviews on a regular basis, that's going to hurt your marketing success. Well, it's the same thing with testimonial content. This is social proof. It is helping Google see that people are happy and like what you've done, and it improves your conversion rate, which is also going to improve the way that Google sees you, because if people click on your stuff and they convert, that tells Google, okay, I did a good job. And you want that again and again and again. So if I'm a doctor, I'm incentivizing my team to get reviews on a regular basis and get testimonials. And then what you do is you create a trifecta of content where you've got the review, you've got a testimonial, you've got photos, package that together in a story that tells this patient's experience, lays out the details in text as well. That's indexable by Google. And then you've got something that's just fantastic content to share on social media, via email to patients and prospective patients. But you can't do that if you don't hit record, if you don't take the photos. So that's the first thing, is just thinking about, this is visual communication. That's the world we live in. The text is pretty much for the bots. And so if you're not gathering these visual assets, then it's radio silence for prospective patients and for Google. So you've just got to hit record.
just hitting record, it's a few extra minutes here, a few extra minutes there. I mean, you have a process, or you're supposed to have a process. And if the better your process and protocols, the smoother your practice runs. So when you have a patient come in, what's the first thing that happens? And then during that consultation, you're going to be taking pictures, you're going to be taking x-rays, you're going to, I mean, that there's a moment right there. You're already collecting content right there, just the photos. So make sure that the camera that you're using, the DSLR, I know the cell phones can be great with photos, but if you're going to be using photographs later down the road, why not take them right the first time, or better, the first time, where the head's not cropped off, it's not blurry. You want the whole face. So you want forward and side profile, 2 photos at least. So you have smiling, not smiling, smiling, not smiling. And then any additional ones that you need to treat the patient, of course. And all the photos are for 4K. They're really large. So you can zoom in and get, then you can still go in and take your close-up shots that we could use down the road, but that could be scary, especially in marketing. You want to see the face. So anywhere from here up is fine. Just don't cut off the shoulders. Don't cut off the top of the head, and make sure it's in focus. Maybe a few feet away from the wall, preferably. You take away some of the dark shadows that might happen on the wall. So there's really no excuse not to get or accumulate content, and just schedule, here's 2 minutes here, 4 minutes there, 5 minutes. Just make it part of your routine, and it'll be second nature.
Yep. Along those lines, sometimes, and it's just fear and kind of excuses because you're feeling overwhelmed, but you might be asking yourself, well, what about photo releases? What about getting permission to share these in marketing? Your marketing company should be able to provide you with something that the other clients they have are using. We definitely do. And I just advise putting that in with your new patient paperwork. We did an episode of Marketing Chairside not too long ago about HIPAA concerns. The attorney that we had on there, he said it's not legal advice, but I'm just saying this would probably work to put it in along with the HIPAA releases to just get the check mark that, yes, you can use my information. But conversationally, all you want to do is just say, after you've heard what made a difference, just say, would you mind, can I just get a video of you saying this again, and just ask you some questions about your experience? Because people don't understand that this type of dentistry exists and what it can do for them. And your story could really change someone else's life. So is it okay if I hit record here? Are they going to say no? I don't think so.
Probably not, but if they're comfortable enough to do that, and then what happens, you ask them a simple question or you get a nice reaction on camera and they tell their story. Don't ask a lot of questions, just do, 1, 2, 3 questions at best. These need to be short. This is not supposed to be a full-blown interview. That response, if you feel like if you get a really good response on social media where a lot of people are watching it, or they're really good on camera, they got that smile and personality that makes you smile, well, then that's a possible person. So after the interview, you can even ask them, whether it's that same time or down the road, you did such a great job. We'd love to bring you back to actually do a proper video. You'd be surprised how many of them will say yes. You can't give them money for it, but what you could do is give them a free cleaning or thank them afterwards. Don't tell them, but maybe, I don't know, dinner for 2 with their, maybe they can take their wife or their husband to dinner or something at a really nice restaurant. Just something, have a thank you something at the end to let them know how much you appreciate them. Every one of these little interactions that you have are a potential content marketing moment. Even if, let's say they say yes, and down the road, you go shoot with a crew, whether it be my crew or somebody else's crew. You create dozens and dozens of commercials. Why don't you throw in like a party, a patient appreciation gathering to show everybody for the first time what they did? They get to invite their families. It's a great opportunity for the doctor to talk to all his patients. Every single person there has a cell phone, which will probably record and share what's going on, talking really good things about your practice and how wonderful it is. They're not just a number. You treat them like people. And maybe the production company that you're working with might throw in a blooper reel of the whole day to make everybody's day even better.
Yeah. So
because you can film all that. You can actually, while you're having that event, which was my original point, there's always an opportunity. So even behind the scenes videos of people interviewing or an event. So having something like that, and then having people on their cell phones or hiring 1 or 2 people to film everything. Now you're just adding to your folder of archived video content that could be turned into pretty much endless amount of marketing material.
And just having that content really takes away the excuse of what are we going to post? We don't have any pictures or anything. Yes, you do. You have a whole folder of it. Speaking of which, we've got to thank today's sponsor, Pro Impressions Marketing. We've got an amazing social media calendar out that you and your team can use. It's inexpensive and it's chock full of ideas for you to post to social media, taking away that excuse of, I have no idea what we would post and we're busy right now. I don't have time for the brain damage. You don't need the brain damage. You just download this file. It's got links for different, month-to-month ideas, and then even links to templates that you can use and just drop in your information and boom, social media post done, and it's out the door. So combine these ideas, combine the tech. I'll have a link in the description of where you can get this, or you can just go to proimpressionsmarketing.com it's in the navigation, it's on the homepage. Grab that calendar and equip your team for social media success. So Aaron, the thing is, I would love for people to be able to level up what they shoot with this. Can you talk about how our doctors can improve the look and the sound of their recordings, their testimonial videos?
Sure. Well, the sound, sound is probably more important than the visuals. Because if you're watching any type of video, I think of most of the stuff you watch on YouTube isn't professionally produced. It's just people having fun, doing what they love, and they just putting together with whatever they have. But if the audio is clean, you'll sit and listen to it. If it's choppy and staticky and I don't know, just low level, doesn't matter if it's beautiful, you're not going to want to watch it. So I recommend getting a wireless mic. You can do a cord. There's nothing wrong with the cord, but then you're tethered to whatever device that you have. But the next cheapest thing to add to the arsenal of what you're going to use to do the interviews, if you're still using your cell phone, for an example, is just get a wireless or wired microphone. Rode's a good product that's out there. I'll probably go with the wireless one if you the wireless is probably the easiest route because you don't have to see anything. You could be anywhere in the room. Once that audio is nice and clean, I mean, it's golden. And you can even take it up a notch. You don't have to do everything with your cell phone. You've got these DSLRs. Most of you have really nice cameras that you're taking photos with. They all have video function. I understand that it might be overwhelming because you're now venturing out past your comfort level, but that's okay. You can hire somebody to do a training a couple days or a couple hours here, a couple hours there with your team, even if you just train one person and that person trains the other people in your office, just to improve or understand how to use the camera more than what the way that you are using it. Putting it on a tripod. You don't always have to hold it. Putting it on the tripod is just that helps. Looking for a nice composition in the office. It's not always okay. The camera's down. They're out sitting in the chair. Find a better angle in the office. If you've got a beautiful garden or a really nice reception area or someplace where you can get some nice visuals or colors, that's great too. So it's not always on a white wall. I can show you some examples right now. So here's an example of an interview. They're just leaning on the counter, the front counter, and they just happen to have a nice color palettes and nice things in the background. And most of the time, the stuff in the background is going to be out of focus, especially if you're shooting with a DSLR. Interviewing in the hallway. Now, these are all with the DSLR. DSLR has something called, well, you'll get a nice bokeh, which is like a nice blurriness behind, creates a great depth of field. So if you're shooting in the hallway, for an example, and you're interviewing or just asking a couple of questions, everything in the background becomes nice and soft. But I would move people around. And here are a few examples of just that. I'll play a couple seconds here and a couple seconds there.
They treated me like I've been here before. I mean, it's the first time I've been here.
I remember one day I came in and after I was leaving and we were chatting and laughing, I said, it's almost like hanging out with my family when I come here.
Dr. Marlin, he's sensational.
It makes me feel really good. I'm really impressed with not only
If you're going to be using your cell phone, usually the cell phone, everything is crisp. Doesn't matter where you are. Your background's in focus. You're in focus. Now, I know they've got some more advanced features. It kind of cheats that whole illusion of depth where it blurs everything behind you. But depending on how clear the person's outline is, whatever background, you might see the fuzz. It might be fuzzy. So if you don't care about that, go right ahead, knock yourself out. Like I said, the phone doesn't cost anything and it doesn't have to be overly produced. The things that are most important is the messaging in the video, what's going on, and the audio. Visuals are a plus, but the audio and the content, what they're saying is what matters.
Just note on the tripod thing. I've got a little one here. I mean, this is just a consumer grade tripod. It's nothing special. And then just an attachment for holding the iPhone. I mean, and it's super simple. Of course, having a wallet on your phone is kind of makes it tougher, but boom. you've got, ready to go, stabilizing your shot. And then talk a little bit about audio, though. How can we, one of the pet peeves I have is the noisy office. That's kind of a no-brainer, is just shutting the door if you can, or letting everyone know that you're recording. But that, to me, can send a little bit of a negative signal if we're talking about this high level of care and we're hearing hand pieces, especially, or just even raucous laughter in the background. I mean, and I get that it's a little more candid, but to me, that distracts from the message that's being said. What other little tips would you have for just leveling up the audio of no recording?
So, I mean, you can't always have a perfect environment. There's always going to be, like, cars might go by. There'd be people in the hallway, or there'd be people outside of the room that you're shooting in that are just talking. So you can either ask them to be quiet for the next 5 minutes, um, but the microphone that you add to it is going to help. The type of microphone is also going to help. Getting a directional mic. The wireless mics are perfect. Once you put a microphone on, it's pulling what's going on right here. Could you hear what's going on out there? Possibly. But I'd rather have 80% you and 20% background noise versus 50-50. And so, or even worse, if the background noise is so loud, it's going to outweigh what's going on in the interview. So just get a mic. It doesn't cost that much. There's a ton out there. And if you're unsure what kind of mic, just reach out to me. Just reach out to my email, agravit@product13.com. I'll put it in the description. I can answer pretty much any question that you might have, so you can have a proper setup. It doesn't cost that much. It's a minimal investment. You want to capture your interaction with the patients. That's what's so appealing. It's not just the video, it's you're interacting with them. So get in the video. There's more than one way to put this together. You don't have to ask all the questions in one shot. Keep it simple. You ask a question, they answer, and then cut. That's it. That's the video. You can probably post it right then and there. Keep it nice and simple. And you can do one question at a time, or you can just hit record and ask a whole series of questions. And then when you're ready to post it, you would have to go back in and then chop up what you want, like edit like this question and that one. I want to post this separately. You can leave the whole thing and put it on there. I don't think that's necessary. I think breaking it up is important, but your cell phone or anybody can pretty much go in and break that up. But you can decide, how do you want to present that? Do you want the audience to hear the question or see the question by having text up on the screen, or not at all?
Yeah.
It just comes down to preferences, and any one of them works. You just want to get the authenticity. You laughing, they're laughing and smiling. Get everything. Get the staff doing it and the patients. Talk to the staff too. Focus on the relationship, not just what the procedure was. I was interviewing a patient a while back, and she was talking. I asked them about can you tell me a story about the practice that just resonated with you for the experience? And she said she was sick, and she was so bad that she wasn't able to come in, but somebody from the office brought her chicken noodle soup. And that little gesture was like a wonderful thing that she became a customer for life. It's not always about video. It's forming that relationship with the patient. And you can't really form that relationship with the patient if you're not engaging with them and talking with them. And the video is a perfect excuse to like have a conversation because there's a camera in the way. It kind of breaks the ice.
I think that the comfort level will come, and it's going to be awkward at first for the team if they've never done it before. You can bypass some of the awkwardness by kind of doing some training on what questions to ask and what not to ask. The biggest tip I have is just train your team to not ask yes, no questions. I was watching an SNL video on YouTube the other day. It was the ESPN Classic series where they're talking about these random sports, and the host keeps asking the color commentator yes, no questions. And he's like, have you ever seen someone hit that hard, Greg? And Greg's like, yes, or just no. and that's it, because he's just answering.
Was it
So
like pulling
don't ask
teeth?
yes, no questions, because your patient, if you ask, so did you enjoy your experience with us? Yes. That's awkward.
It is awkward.
Could you tell me a little bit more about that, maybe? Instead, like Aaron said, you want to have them tell you a story. I mean, in my mind, there you could even just ask 3 questions. Uh, what problems brought you to our office? Or what was life like before you had treatment? Something along those lines, because we want to hear the pain that made them decide I need a change.
I broke it down into 3 sections as well. So you can ask as many questions as you want, but if you're just doing stuff in the office with your cell phone, you're not actually doing a formal sit down interview, which would be like around 30 minutes. If it's just the few minutes here and a few minutes there, stick to like 1 or 2 questions at best, and you use that opportunity to post it online. If you were gonna spend a little bit more time with them, you've got 3 basic thoughts here. You've got the before, during, and after treatment.
Absolutely.
So thoughts before they called the doctor. You've got like what motivated them to take action, what obstacles or hesitations were in the way that postponed them to getting that treatment, and then what did you hear about the doctor? This is the great time because they're going to talk about what were your symptoms. Though that before thought process will lead you into other questions, and you kind of have to feed those questions based off what their responses are. You don't even know exactly what you're going to ask them until they might respond and bring something up. And if they're uncomfortable on camera, take a step back. Don't even let them know the camera's on, and just start. So tell me about with family. What are you doing later? Like, did you have a good New Year's? What are you doing for the holidays? Or did you have a birthday? Just something like, what do you do for a living? Just break the ice, just have them talk, and then go back and ask them the question again. And then, of course, you got during the experience. So you had a bunch of problems before, and what was the process like here at the office? Did the obstacles that you had before, are they in the way now? Were there any surprises? What was it like when they walked through the door for the first time? Talk about that, their experience like with the staff, maybe some technology. Did they notice a difference from the previous doctor than what's going on now? And then after the treatment or since the treatment, have your feelings changed? Did your attitudes and emotions change about dentistry? Because often once they reach a certain level of dentist, they're going to notice a drastic change in how they were treated and the results. Now, one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to bash a previous dentist. Don't make sure if they start talking, oh, this so-and-so doctor, you don't want to mention names. They can say, oh, I wasn't satisfied with my previous dentist. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But you want to stay away from the negative and focus on the positive. The only negative would be the type of pain and the problems that they had prior, and that now after I don't have that pain. I am now out of pain. This doctor fixed everything. And then, of course, would you recommend this doctor to a friend, and why? I mean, I know there's probably more than 3 in there, but for the most part, you got to break it from before the procedure, what was going on during the procedure, and then obviously how was it after the procedure.
Right. Yeah. Like, what was your experience like at our office? If you feel comfortable telling us about what you had done, and then what's life like after treatment at our office? What's life like with your new smile? Something like that. I think
Confidence. Often they notice a huge boost of confidence. Maybe their relationship has gotten improved because now they kiss their wife, because before it was like, nope, they were afraid to smile. They were covering up. You want to capture that problem. You want to find what the problem was and then show them the solution, or have them tell you what the solution was on camera. So I had a couple on camera way back when, with a wonderful client from Savannah, Georgia. That was Dr. Brad Durham. But I was interviewing this couple, and the husband couldn't eat very anything that he liked. He couldn't have steak. He couldn't just chew into something that he wanted because for like at least a decade because his teeth were so bad, and his wife would just get so upset that he was so miserable all the time. And then he got his teeth fixed, and then he was able to have a meal that he like his favorite steak and corn on the cob and bite into an apple. He didn't realize how much he was missing until it was fixed again, and he wished he did it sooner. He She broke down. I was expecting him to break down, but she was so relieved that he was out of pain. You get some really good moments on camera. She kissed him on the cheek. They both smile. He kind of raised his eyebrows. Um,
Priceless.
it is, and in fact, I'm going to show it right now.
Anybody who sits down to eat and then you have your loved one next to you and they can't eat and you watch them struggle through that, that is a big deal.
I want to look good, I want to be able to eat good, and I want to feel good.
And then once I seen him to be able to chew his food, it's a big deal, and it made a big difference in his smile, his attitude. It changed his whole life.
I couldn't even eat before, but that steak that I had after this process was amazing.
And this is where relationship is. I mean, so important is because that person will know what to ask about. And by the way, this is not just stuff for cosmetic oriented treatment, TMD treatment, sleep treatment. I mean, I've seen some fantastic. You bring up a good point about the couples. If you've got a husband, wife, any sort of adult child came with the patient, getting them on camera together is a fantastic idea because you get to kind of record almost a scene rather than just awkward one-on-one between you and the camera.
They
And
play off each other.
yes, and the sleep treatment, that's big with the couples there. If you got the bed partner there talking about how bad it was before, and and then the other thing is if you know this patient because you've been, they've come multiple times, just being able to say, you seem different when you're recording the after, that will prompt them to talk about what's different. And that's really what you want in the kind of after treatment questions.
At the end of the day, you want their story. And if they have an emotional one, you want to try to get them to tell it. There was a patient that couldn't get work. She got bit by a rattlesnake. And yeah, I know. She went under the kitchen sink and there was babies rattlesnakes, which are
Holy
more
cow.
poisonous than the adults. And she thought she cut herself on the pipe. And she couldn't eat. She had no teeth. They thought she was a drug addict. She couldn't get a job. And she went to other places and nothing was able to get fixed until to the current doctor she has now. And the results afterwards, she got 2 jobs right away. And that she now has a boyfriend. She was all excited. But she went in and she was crying and she was very emotional. I mean, that whole story right there is what is going to attract people to your practice. So you want to capture that. You can't force it. It has to happen. And you don't know where the heroes are going to be until you go out there and record everything.
There was so much joy coming through the doors for the first time and knowing that I was going to have this nightmare taken out of my life. It was the start of a new time in my life. Because I couldn't get a job before. People would look at me and I wouldn't smile. I couldn't smile. I couldn't open my mouth. It was one of the happiest days of my life. I could not believe how much it changed my face. It was like a facelift without any surgical procedure. It was glorious.
These types of interviews don't just have to happen in the dental office. That's one of the things, kind of that you could do this with your phone, but now we're getting into a little bit of territory where you're getting some professional help with recording these and doing full scale interviews. I would highly recommend scheduling some time, like Aaron said, with the kind of a patient appreciation type event. Schedule that in another location because that will level up your footage. And Aaron, that's kind of your cup of tea. I feel like it defines Product 13's style is location scouting. Tell us more about that process.
The office, no matter how beautiful the office is, it's still a dental office. Even if it feels like a spa, or massage parlor. Oh, should I say parlor? That has a different connotation.
Hey,
All right,
now.
I'm gonna cut this part out. Um,
Spa.
Spa, I mean, so I mean, the whole spa experience is really important. If you can change the perception of dentistry so it doesn't really feel like a dentist office, that's wonderful. But at the end of the day, it's still a dentist office. So you're going to want to capture as much content and try to build these relationships outside of the office. So I highly recommend, shooting testimonials in patient homes, or going to a resort or get a hotel and rent out a suite or a couple rooms, or film on location somewhere. Go Airbnb. You can get a nice, beautiful location. Country club works too. I mean, you just want to be able to have multiple different shots in the same location so that the crew doesn't have very far to set up and change. But everybody's there. You can capture so much. And after you shoot and everything is all done, go to a restaurant, or go, if you have a really beautiful house off the water, some of my clients do, right? They just had it at their house because it was big enough. But you want to have it outside. It's an event. You have it catered. Doesn't have to be too crazy, but just enough where you can form that relationship and then keep on filming that interaction too. So I think the biggest thing is you're selling a destination, you are selling an experience, you're selling the end results. And that requires treating people better, improving the overall experience. So having a designated place to take photos is part of the process. They go to a specific room or a specific place in the office. So they're like, all right, I came in, I was here in the waiting room for hopefully 2 minutes. And then now they're in the suite. Okay, they get met. Now we're going to go into another room and oh, well, this is not, it's like you're treating them like a movie star, or you're just treating them better. And having these destination video shoots, which are local, we're not going to Hawaii or someplace tropical or anything, as much as that would be freaking fantastic. Those moments are what it's going to elevate your whole experience with your patients. It's going to increase your ROI over time. It's going to, your SEO is going to go up. The patient loyalty is going to go up. Word of mouth is going to go up. They've never been treated that way. Everybody gets treated like a number. You go in, you're done, boom. All right, here's your cavity. Get out of here. Maybe not that harsh, but it's at the end of the day, that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah. By the way, if you are ready to invest in photo shoot in Hawaii, video shoot, Aaron and I are available. You just let us know when. We'll move things around.
As long as it's within an hour radius of the office, I don't see why anybody would hesitate. I mean, an hour towards a city is normal expectations, and you might be 3 blocks over. Whereas an hour out in the country, we're like, oh, that's too far. But you should be able to find someplace closer. So even if it's 30 minutes away, that's fine. And a lot of patients are coming from 30 minutes or an hour away anyway to your office. They're not just down the street. So find a nice location. Any kind of venue would work. And in fact, you don't even have to figure it out. I can take care of all the logistics, which I normally do. So, or someone like me. I really think there's so much going on. The doctor should put together a team to come in and knock everything out, or even potentially manage it in his office. So either you find somebody that's really good with technology and all this stuff in social media that you can basically give your dental hygienist an additional job title, right? Or bring somebody in to help manage that, even if it's part-time. It's something to take that stress off you, and that will help improve everything. User experience is the best, is the key. The better the experience, the better the return.
If you're serious about improving the quality of your photos and learning the actual camera that you're working on, my team and I travel all over the country, working with teams like yours, one-on-one at your practice. One of the most important things to realize is when you're shooting the before and after pictures, that they're not just for internal use. It's not just for the doctor to take a look at them. It helps with all forms of marketing. It could be internal marketing or external. You can use it on a billboard, a magazine ad, especially if it's really top-notch looking photos. They're clear and crisp and they don't have dark shadows and their head's not chopped off. You also can use them to close future sales. So when you're sitting in the consultation room and you got a new patient and you can pull up a before and after from a previous patient because it represents an example of what that patient's looking for or needs work-wise, you can help close that sale. If the photos do not represent the quality of your work in real life or the level of service that you provide, it's not doing your brand any justice. So I strongly recommend training of some kind, because you don't have to be a photographer to learn some simple skills, and we don't have to overcomplicate it, because at the end of the day, your focus needs to be on your patients. I'm just a tool that you can use, and yes, I said I'm a tool. So to use so that you can learn how to use the camera more efficiently without having to be super technical.
Yep. I mean, the shoots that I've been at, organization is the key. But just one note, I've seen offices invest in this. They do the video shoot, but it's so weird. I've seen it multiple times where photography is a struggle for them. And so I just want to emphasize, getting the video is important, but if you're not even taking before and after photos, that's goal zero. You've got to regularly take, when you're taking records, you're getting the befores. Don't just get the intraoral, like Aaron said. You're going to get the full face before, smiling, not smiling, and then to the side, smiling, not smiling. I think that's a great recommendation to just be part of your records, part of your process, taking these photos, preferably against a blank backdrop of some
a
sort.
clean background, because you
Yep.
want it to be consistent. Now, obviously, it's not going to always work that. You might have this one's on black and this one's on white, or who knows what's going to happen. But for the most part, you want to try to be consistent, because when you have the photos side by side, you want them to be able to see without hesitation, oh, that's the difference. And if it's not noticeable enough, don't use those before and afters for that particular patient. Now, that patient might hit it out of the park on the interview. We'll find a different way to present the interview in the editing that doesn't have to show the before and after, because to the patient, they might be a wow factor, but to you and I, or the average person, they were like, I see no difference. Or it may be a little one. You want the ones that are dramatic, where they're missing teeth, they're very discolored, and then wow, now it's bright white and they have all their teeth, But the reason why you want to take the picture, you want the whole face, is because people relate to their facial expressions. Half the time we're looking at their mouths or their eyes. These are the two, right? So when they're talking, or in this case, they're not talking, they're smiling, when you have a before picture and let's say they needed dentures or implants, but they were missing a whole bunch of teeth, you're going to have a lot of extra jaw, or you're going to have less jaw and a lot of extra skin. And then now with the side by side, afterward, all of a sudden, their jaw's in place, they've got tighter neckline, everything is tighter, their lips are fuller, they look younger, 10 to 15 years younger, just with that shift in their facial expressions. Because that right there, it's a non-surgical facelift without having to go to a plastic surgeon. Capitalize on that, and you don't have to say much, just show it. Now, what I would try not to do, sometimes you can't help it because you may not have a proper after picture, or the file doesn't exist anymore, where I ran into that before. Like, how did you have a before picture and no after picture? So we had to use the photos that we took on the shoot. So it'll work, but I recommend having the photos being similar. If you've got a model type photo for a magazine type shoot, it's set up a little different, right? You got more personality. They might be doing something in the shot, which makes it harder for the consumer when they're seeing the before and afters, like what exactly got done, because there's only a few seconds on the video that they can decipher that. The less you do to those photos, and the heads are the same size, the smiles are roughly the same size, that's where you want that. That's why I'm adamant about getting the whole face, because you want to see that what has actually done, because when you get the smile redone, the whole face changes.
And when you've got these photos, you've got this before and after photo. You've got the video assets before, during, and after treatment. Like I said before, you want to use those, in kind of a patient story format, but you want to use them on social media. You want to use them everywhere. And so hopefully you've got a comprehensive marketing partner. Take your dental practice to the next level with the Pro Membership by Pro Impressions Marketing. Our all-inclusive digital marketing membership is crafted exclusively for dentists, covering everything from SEO to social media management. It's designed to amplify your online presence and draw in more patient leads. Embrace the power of digital marketing with our Pro Membership and see your practice flourish online like never before. Just click the link below and you can actually schedule a consult with one of my team members. That reminds me, I want to thank again Pro Impressions Marketing for sponsoring this video. Pro Impressions is a full service dental marketing only agency. Being full service, that allows your team, if you've got a full service marketing team, to take these assets and run with it. You do not want to just have your photos in a smile gallery and your videos in a media section on your website. If that's what you've got now, then you've got basically order takers at the helm of your marketing rather than strategic thinkers. So you want to have a team that knows, hey, these photos, these videos need to be in the flow of content for your implants page, your full mouth reconstruction page. They need to be circulated through social media on a schedule, a content schedule, where all these assets are being leveraged well for you because you are investing. Even if you're just recording it with your phone, you are making an investment in generating content. Make sure you're getting a return on that investment with a comprehensive marketing campaign. And if you don't have that, if you've just got kind of a cookie cutter website and no one really managing these assets for you, reach out to us at Pro Impressions Marketing. Visit our website, proimpressionsmarketing.com, and check out the membership there. I think you'll see that there's a difference in what you're getting now versus what Pro Impressions Marketing offers. Again, that page is the Pro Membership page. You'll see the Pro Impressions Marketing difference there. So, Aaron, the next thing I want to cover is the Pro Video setup. I mean, I think a lot of offices see fantastic looking video at the top of a website and on social media, and they don't even know where to begin to get that. So talk to us a little bit about the best of the best even, but also what would be the good place to start in getting professional video for a dental office?
Well, here's the thing though. So the doctors know a lot about dentistry, and over the years, they pick up some knowledge on some of the marketing that's going on, what works and what doesn't work, but they're still really overwhelmed. So one of the issues that I've had was they don't really understand what you're saying. You could you could give them, you can itemize everything out and they won't read it. You can talk about it all day long saying, hey, I recommend having 2 cameras, make sure you use a dolly. They don't know what the dolly is. I have to then explain what a dolly is. And you should have, I recommend having a makeup artist there. They may not. You should have a craft food person. Basically, it's an assistant making sure everybody's taken care of. They got their water, their snacks, maybe lunch. There's a whole thing of logistics that you'll make their heads explode. So they need to see it. They need to physically see it. And once they experience it, it's hard to not go back and do that again. So you would have a crew. Well, first off, we were talking about the type of deliverables, right? But from my aspect, I'll end up putting together a crew that will work for your location, whether some of my regular guys that I'd bring with me versus some of the local crew that I would capitalize on to help reduce some of the cost factor for it. It's an investment, but it's it could be as many days as you need to, but it averages between 1 to 3 days. And you would have 1 day dedicated to interviewing patients. You have 1 day dedicated to interviewing the doctor and the staff. And then there'd be a pickup day for anything that you heard or discussed during the interviews. So if a patient talks about some hobbies that they do, let's say they like playing tennis, maybe on that 3rd day, I go get them taking pictures of video of them playing tennis, maybe smiling, interacting with teammates or friends. Maybe there's a mother or somebody who loves to cook, and I can go to their house and we can get them interacting with their family. They're cooking, maybe they bake cookies, maybe then they're playing some games. So you want to get that B-roll. This is additional B-roll and potential audio depending on what's going on off those first 2 days. Who knows?
Oh,
Maybe
it's
I
huge, those B-roll things. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that
uh,
is something that I agree. Dentists don't understand often the difference that it makes to, I mean, yes, the equipment is several levels higher up than the DSLR that they've
mhm.
got to pop their pictures with. Um, and the audio is amazing. The lighting is the piece that I think is just so hard to appreciate what's possible with good lighting. But again, the B-roll, leaving time in for capturing the things that make the lifestyle improvements and the experience better is invaluable. And if you don't have a team of professionals that have worked with dental offices and know how to, capture those moments and get the pieces that make your content feel more, it's still relatable, but it's more authentic in a way because you're capturing life, not an operatory. It's
Correct.
big.
Yes. She was very excited for this. So now that it's happening, I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm very happy.
Correct. Now, during those days, so it all depends on where we're shooting. So ideally, my recommendation, I could talk all day about gear, but I'll just handle whatever is needed to execute our goal, right? And I'll give you some options. But the goal for the interviews, I recommend if we're not shooting at the office, I recommend not shooting at the office for the interviews. Finding a location that is conducive to getting really good B-roll on location, getting interviews on that location, getting professional photos taken on that location, and the photos would be on black and then loose in the environment. So you have 2 sets of styles of photos of the patient along with staff. That all happen because the staff would be there when we're filming. So they need to be there. They need to be hands-on, even if they're watching most of the time. The patients need to have that level of comfort knowing that, oh, there's these people, I know these people. They don't know me, but they know them. When they walk in, they'll be greeted by a production assistant and or one of your staff members. They'll end up going to kind of like a holding cell type room where they get their makeup done. They'll get like a bottle of water if they be offered a snack if they like one. They get their makeup on. So they come like an hour before they would be interviewed. They get in the chair, get the makeup done, and then they're on camera. They go to another room where they'll sit and they'll be sitting with me. We'll have a discussion, probably about 30 minutes or so. Then they'll go to another location that's very close, all within walking distance. They'll get some professional photos taken. They'll get some B-roll, maybe on location, depending on where we are. Because if we're at, like, let's say, a golf resort type area, we have the main hall where we can shoot some video and then maybe even outside. But then the B-roll, they can be playing golf or riding a bike. They could be walking a dog or sitting on the porch. Maybe there's a nice rocking chair and they can sip a glass of lemonade or iced tea. Maybe they're sitting with their husband or wife reading the paper. All these little things, maybe they're playing with their dog. When you have those opportunities to shoot all these extra footage in one location, you can get more done. So you can interview 10, 12 people, spend all day there. It's a long day. Gather all that content and then turn it into dozens, if not hundreds, of videos and short form, long form content, plus the magazine and print and digital opportunities just from the photographs are endless. You can apply that to radio spots. You can apply it to your on-hold messaging. When someone calls, the commercials and videos that you create, you can merge into that 10-minute loop of audio. And that's just the first day. The second day will be at the office. We'll interview the doctor. We'll interview the staff. We'll ask some of those patients to come back. So when we shoot at the office, you can get mock consultations. You can get mock photography sessions with the staff. So each staff member you want to show doing something with the patient along with the doctor. We don't have to actually say anything because the patients are going to be talking about their experience. And then I have something to cut to of them doing that with somebody at the office. Same thing with the doctor. So the patients brag on the doctor and the doctor brags on the patients and the staff. So no one really talks about themselves. That's those 2 days. And then the third day is the pickup day where we can plan anything you want. Maybe it's a social media day where we're doing funny, silly things for the holidays. So we do all the holiday videos in one day and all the little skits that we might do at the office or around town with the staff. We can do something like that on the third day.
But Aaron, Aaron, I know that sounds very expensive, and my local TV guy will come out. If I buy the airtime, they will come out and do the video shoot for free. So why would I hire you? Huh?
Well, it will look like you got done for free. The
No,
studios,
it'll probably be the same thing, I'm sure.
too much, man. The studio, the station, they don't spend any time on who you are, your brand. They will come shoot for an hour, edit for an hour, and then be done. There is no extra thought put into it. It is what it is. There's no revisions. There's no making it perfect. There's no understanding who your client base is. There's no effort put into any experience. It is free for a reason because you got sold by a salesperson in the ad department. They're just trying to sell media time. That's it. And they're going to poo-poo the production. They discredit the production and the time it takes to actually get something done very, very well.
It's a huge difference. I remember a shoot we were on recently, and the stuff that you can do with professional lighting just amazed me. I mean, we had this hallway shot, and this is where B-roll, you'll get an example of B-roll because Aaron will put up the hallway shot while I'm talking. You know, because you're at the shoot, that your office does not have windows in these hallways. They had light spilling from the doorways that looked exactly like daylight, and it was coming from a room where their cone beam was. It looked like there was light coming through, and it was just like made it a beautiful shot. And this is just a hallway in a dental office, but it just looked like movie perfect. And of course, you know, there's something to be said for capturing candid video, but now we're talking professional grade video shoot. You're going to be able to capture the personality of the patient better. They're going to look their best rather than just showing up for a dental appointment. And it just elevates everything that you would otherwise capture in a way that you can repurpose again and again, like Aaron's saying.
I think the biggest mistake is trying to have one person do everything because you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have audio issues. You're going to have lighting issues. You can't focus on all that. And I know the doctor's going to want to have all these things done. You need a crew. And anything less than a 5-person crew is going to be exhausting. Like there's going to be errors, not errors, more like you're not going to get everything that you want. So the more people you put on the crew, I mean, the average is anywhere between 8 to 10 people, because that you can have 2 crews going on at the same time. You have one crew filming the interview and then one crew filming the B-roll in a different location, whether it's in a different room or outside somewhere. That's usually ideal. If you can't do that, that's fine. We can figure out other ways to do it. It's just that the more you want to do needs more people. And when you have dedicated person on audio, dedicated person on lighting, dedicated person on the camera, then they can do their job really, really well.
Well, and I know you, dear listener, dear viewer, you're also thinking, I've got to shut down the office for this, right? Or I've got to have the team come in on the weekends. And, you know, it's a challenge for sure. But if you have a larger crew, you're getting more out of those times, those hours when you're not, actually creating dental production. You will get more for your investment in time if you spend a little bit more money to have a large professional crew. And again, I'm thinking about that shoot where we were doing interviews with the patients, but then those patients that we had already interviewed were able to go outside and take photos and get natural light. And they were doing some fun full body pictures where they were, just being cute and
We have them jumping. They were jumping up and down.
Yep. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't do that if you've got the one person that your local cable company sent to your office with a camera that's 10 years old over their shoulder, and they're trying to do it all. It's going to just be garbage compared to what you can get with a company like Product 13.
If you do this right, if you group all your production in and cram it into like 2-3 days with a pickup day here and there, depending on what it is that you want done, you'll have enough content to last you years before you even need to have any more filming done to stop, to shut down your office. And the great way about doing this is you get a whole bunch of deliverables up front, right? But then you have all that content archived, like raw content that hasn't been edited. And 6 months down the road, you could be like, hey, I need to create a TMJ spot. Do we have anything that we can do we need to do something for social media, but I also need to run a TV ad that has to be 30 seconds long. And then I have to do a short. We have to have all that done. Is it possible? Do we have something in there that can do that? And of course, I'll just take a look. Most likely, yes. And I can repurpose or find new content that hasn't been seen yet, and then turn that into a whole marketing campaign based on what the doctor's needs are at that time, because I've got stuff in the can. So every 3 years or so, and you can do a shoot every year. I do recommend shooting every year, but you don't have to. So every few years, when you go do a shoot again, all that content gets added to the previous content and archived. So then when you start doing new stuff, you're pulling from now years of footage. So your video content becomes more interesting, and you can repurpose it. There's really no limit to what you can do. As long as you can create and plan ahead, you can turn that into a ton of content. It slows down when you want to be way too creative and spend all day just getting one shot, then with one focus on one commercial. Like, why do that? I mean, you can do that, but why spend that kind of money when you can spend all day getting dozens and dozens of deliverables out of that day versus one deliverable out of that day? Often doctors have scripts they want to give the patients, or the production crew, your higher production, they write a script. I was talking to one doctor that I rebranded her, and she was happy with the rebrand, but she ended up using a local film crew to shoot some videos, and she wanted my feedback on it. She looked really great on camera. She talked really, really well, but the first few seconds, the first like 7 seconds of a 30-second commercial was useless, because all she did was, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm with this practice. She gave herself an introduction. I'm like, cut that out. There's no need for that. Just get right into it. And I thought she had an interview recorded. So when she sent me the raw footage, I was thinking I can re-edit this to give it more strength. But she was reading from cue cards. She was reading from a teleprompter. There was no additional footage for me to edit or change. Unless there's specific scripts for an ad that you're doing, I don't disapprove of that, but that can't be the only thing you do. If you're going to get a camera crew there, get an interview for at least a half an hour to an hour, just talking.
Yeah.
And then do your one-liners, and then do your scripted stuff. So don't just do scripted stuff. Otherwise it looks like you're deer in the headlights, and it looks like you're reading a teleprompter. You want to be as authentic as possible. Just have your talking points and then just talk about them.
Streamline your social media strategy with Pro Impressions Social Media Calendar. Packed with hundreds of post ideas and holiday templates tailored for dentists, our calendar simplifies your content planning, ensuring your posts are not only consistent and timely, but also highly engaging. Lighten your social media management load with our social media calendar. Just click on the link below and you can purchase your calendar. It's really good, okay? Lighten your social media management load with our social media calendar. Just click on the link below to make your purchase. I mean, and different people running these are going to have different styles, but absolutely it takes the person in front of the camera, whether it's you, the doctor, or the patient, or the team. It takes them a while to settle in, and without having enough time to do that, I mean, you get what you pay for in time and money. But what I want you to take away from this episode is, first of all, take pictures, and then, assuming you're taking pictures, hit record. Whether it's with do it with your camera. You want to do all the above, but don't focus on, I'm not ready to drop 30,000 on a video shoot. That's fine. Start small. Start with your phone. Start hitting record and capturing patient experiences before, during, and after treatment, and just level up as you go. Level up, hit record, then work on your sound, work on your lighting, and then as you're seeing, holy cow, the time spent on our website is improving, and holy cow, our social media is actually getting engagement. Amazing. That will happen when you've got faces on your stuff. And then level up, keep going, because this is how you compete, is by showing what makes you different. People are not going to get that from stock photography and text. I'm just telling you, they won't. So hit record, listen to what my man Aaron says. Aaron, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to be here.
I appreciate it always. For you watching, please do a giant favor. Hit that like button, the heart button, and comment. Let us know what tips you would like to see next time we either bring Aaron on or another expert, because I want these episodes to be tailored to what you need. Share it with your friends. Until next time, check us out online, Pro Impressions Marketing. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too very much. Yes, you should also, go to social media and follow us. That's good. I appreciate you. I don't know what I'm doing.